Good morning, everyone. I'm Vince Lancy. Today's market rundown, we'll be discussing an update from Michael Oliver on silver and GDX in context of last week's behavior. And we have a report from Goldman for the economics data coming out this week. Let's start with the markets. The dollar is down 11 at 104.20. 10-year yields are 425, up 1.5 basis points. S&P 500 is up 32.5 at 58.37. The VIX is 1920, down 1.12. Gold is down 14 and change at 27.31. Silver is 33.39, down 31 cents. Copper is 4.34, down a little bit less than a penny. Gold, silver is a little bit stronger. WTI is the big mover last night, 68.19, down $4.24. Natural gas is 252, down 3.5 cents. Bitcoin is 68,698, up 700 and change. Ethereum is 25.26, up 20. Palladium up 22 at 12.14, and platinum is down almost 3 at 10.21. And grains are mixed again. Wheat strong, 584, up a penny, penny and a half. Soy 992, down 6.7 cents, and corn is down a penny and a half at 407. There's our home page. We had a lot of content come out from Friday through Sunday, and we'll be going through the headlines for you right before we get to Michael Oliver's work. This weekend, starting on Friday, we put out 6 original pieces. Just to give you a quick run through, all right, the dollar is done. That is a post in which we must acknowledge sooner or later the dollar will share the stage in a multipolar world. Hartnett, investors starting to chase gold, no good for stocks. He believes that given a sweep by either party in the election, bonds will likely drop and gold will rise, which will signal stocks are broken. Gold and Western pricing bias. That's an editorial piece. Despite changes to the methodology in assessing gold's price trajectory, banks are still woefully U.S.-centric in their bias, and it shows in their recent analysis. Founders, we did some very special work for you guys over the weekend. A bank asks, that's Deutsche Bank, what does gold do post a Trump-Harris victory? Deutsche Bank believes it drops 2% but doesn't stay down long. Trump was interviewed by Joe Rogan, 3-hour interview, but you don't have to see it if you're driving, it's really a very, very good interview. Trump channels Reagan in this one, except that Reagan was an actor before he was a politician. Introduction to options is the last thing on there. We did that on Sunday. That was a 2-hour class, everything you always wanted to know about options, but were afraid to ask. First in a series, if people are interested. We had a lot of interest, let's put it that way. Michael Oliver, MSA, he owns MSA, and he put out a report over the weekend. He puts out a report every week, the 360 report, and he goes through specific markets. This report this week focused very heavily on stocks. He believes we could be at the beginning of a domino effect. He actually has a little bit of a drawing in there as well. He does talk about silver, and it seems like he's talking about it because people are a little bit worried because we didn't follow through or we had that sell-off, and he addresses that, and he also addresses Newmont and copper, and we're just going to give you a little excerpt of the silver and a little excerpt of the Newmont comment. So he says, regarding silver, among other things, he says, if we see daily momentum get back above Friday's oscillator high and above the zero line 3-day average, that's his indicator, then bet that this daily consolidation process is over and upside will return. Short-term action will then get back in sync with larger factors. For Monday, that means closing December silver above 33.94 or Tuesday estimated above 33.80. And he has in his chart a circle there. We'll show you what that looks like on a regular chart. It's a 2-hour chart, comes in here. This line is my line. This is a line for me to start worrying. Not worrying. This is a line for me to start wondering who's participating below this line. So if the market were to sell off, if the momentum lower were to continue, I want to know who's selling. If it's CTAs, then I'm not worried. If it's macro discretionary, then I see a little bit of a problem. But we won't know until we get there. But let's just staying with the positive. Here's the same area. You could see basically you have this whole structure here, and now we have this little thing here. And he's saying, and as you know, I would agree with him that this this little red here. Let's go to a weekly. Stay with here. The, this sell-off is a capped rally. It's not the end. Now they're going to raise margins again if we go up again, but it's just a capped rally. It's not the direction. It's the speed that they care about. You hear me say a lot. Zooming out to the weekly, we'll get to that comment there in a second. On a weekly, we're in a whole new area, right? And so the market needs to think before it moves forward. That little thing there, I've left that on my permanent chart from 2022. That's the moment that JP Morgan, at the behest of someone, maybe someone within JP Morgan, decided to downgrade a whole sector as silver prices were on their highs for 10 years, 20 years, who knows? But there you go. So that's his silver comment. Moving on to the Newmont comment. In context, of course, Newmont constitutes 14.28% of GDX weightings. So it's very big. And so GDX suffered sharply on Thursday along with Newmont. GDX closed. Now, to people that are saying this is the beginning of the end, GDX closed down for the week 3.68%. Is that a signal of sector decline? Well, consider that silver and gold had a positive week, and SIL, the silver miners ETF, rose 2.8%. So context is important. So let's take a look at that. All right, on the left, there's the Newmont weekly. Obviously, that's an ugly candle. And on the right is a GDX weekly, about 50% of its previous week's give back. Not unhealthy. Dollar, I just left that there for good measure. And silver is, making a weekly high. So, it looks pretty good. Oh, one thing I did forget to say, he made a comment that I agree with. Price has traded either side of $34. Silver. Price has traded either side of $34 for 6 days now. That's hardly a victory for short sellers. And also, net for the week, silver was up 1.65% and gold up 65 basis points. There you have it. So I tend to agree with him. I have my lines in the sand. News for the week. This week brings earnings reports from many of the big tech companies whose stocks have powered the market to records. Google's parent, Alphabet, followed by Microsoft, Facebook, Meta, Apple, and Amazon. And NVIDIA is on November 20th. So if you keep that news piece in mind and then you look at the markets are reacting to two things right now, all the markets. One, the geopolitical aspect, and potentially peace breaking out. And two, that earnings reports are coming out. People are expecting all these tech companies to do very well. Geopolitics, everybody pulls out. Why are we saying that? China tightens its grip on raw materials. If you want our lithium, you have to build a battery factory here. You can't have the lithium. You can have the battery factory. You have to create jobs. You have to share technology with us. We don't want you to just take our stuff. And so they're doing that to protect, it's going to be a mercantilist world, right? You have to export. So you want to sell everything you can to the other guy, right? In finished goods. And you also want to protect your own consumers so that they only buy your stuff. So it's going to be domestic inflation in every country. And you can rest assured that this is probably something they were thinking about doing for a long time, but they did it because we just discovered a lot of lithium. So, there's a natural resource war going on. Japan's ruling coalition lost its parliamentary majority. I'm not sure what that means for monetary policy, but it just does show that the old order is changing. Here's the big one. Israel conducted a military strike on targets in Iran early on Saturday, and the military said the retaliatory strike has been completed with the objectives achieved. Okay. Cynicism suspended. Israel accomplished their mission of punching back. Iran is reserves the right to punch back again, but hasn't said that they will yet. And this would be a sign of peace potentially breaking out. Now, you're saying, where do you see that? I don't see that, but the markets see that. Okay. Oil is down. Why is oil down? Well, oil is down for two reasons. One, the big reason, nothing was blown up uh, that was oil based. But I believe oil's also down because the market is starting to discount peace or a reduction in hostilities. It's a forefront war, right? Israel's fighting Hezbollah to the north. They're fighting Hamas to the west. They're fighting Iran to the east, which is actually coming through Iraq. And they're fighting the Houthis. Small as they are, they're a very big pain in the ass in the south. Israel can't keep doing that. And I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to sue for peace, or someone's going to. They're working on that. That's what's going on behind the scenes. That's what I think, anyway. Um, so that's it. Geopolitically, that's why stocks are up, et cetera, et cetera. Data on deck. Big week for data, small day for data. No data today. PCE and NFP are out this week. PCE, personal consumption deflator, uh, basically CPI with some stuff taken out. That's going to be important, although people will be focused more on NFP now. If NFP comes in strong, so if non-farm payrolls come in strong, if unemployment comes in low, then people will start to be worried more about how not cutting it all, which is on the table, especially if the earnings for stocks come out very strong this week. So my stock market comment would be, if the earnings just kill it on the tech companies, these are the companies that everybody owns right now. Everybody's putting their money into, has been putting their money into tech companies for years. If the earnings kill it, what will the market do? The market goes up. That's because everyone who has, they just put their money in cash is going to plow it back into them. And if they go up because they plow back into them, well, then the market is telling you that the Fed doesn't care, right? The Fed doesn't matter. If, however, the earnings kill and the market, these stocks are weak, they don't really rally that much because they have rallied going into this event, then the market is telling you that it's concerned that Powell will actually not cut this year. Let's take another look at the markets. Before we go, there's oil. Scary, right? Gold is down 15. Let's take a look at gold. Yeah, so if you're trading technically, draw yourself a line here. Draw yourself a line here. You can draw it there, there, and leave this area underneath in the middle, right where my cursor is, as the exaggeration. Remember, this is an hourly chart, right? So on a 4-hour chart, that will settle above, probably, right? I would say worry about that. Don't worry about it, but just say if we break that, we have to go to here. If we go below here, then you have to go there. The key, I think, today is silver. Just sticking with Michael's levels today. If we get above, it was silver, so it was D silver. We get above 33.80. It's basically this day here. Here, I'll go to the daily. We get above in spot. It's probably converging now. 33.70, which is like 33.95 in futures. If we get above today's high, okay, if we make a new high today and settle above it, then this potential downside is negated. And if you want to just look at it really, from a normal technical analysis point of view, you want to draw a line here, right? You want to go like this. That's what you want to do for today. Tomorrow, that number will change. His number changes significantly tomorrow. So it drops to like 33.80, which we have to figure out there. With regards to oil, it is buy season. And people are buying. And they bought. And now they're puking. So don't think gold is immune to that. Gold is down today because of oil. And most people have not been plowing into gold for gold's sake. They've been plowing into it in the last, say, month or so for the election. If the election turns out to be a known, then gold's going to react pretty violently. Which way, we don't know yet. All right, I'm Vince. Have a great day.